Do you know how governments and people in power make somebody do something they don't want to do? Well, they threaten them with a fine. They threaten to take their hard-earned bunts off of them. And we're seeing this in lots and lots of things every day. I brought you that video about the electric vehicle, the Tesla, that went poof yesterday. This is the future we're left with. Some pretty interesting comments on that video, by the way, I must say. Well, some new government legislation has come to light where they want to try and force this down everybody's throat. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing all right. I'm not too bad. Let me know you're well in the comments. Very good to see you again. Thank you for the support for the channel and continue to keep doing what you're doing. I tell you, this electric vehicle thing is getting nuts. They literally want to force it. They want to force net zero and they want to force everything else down our throats by hook or by crook. There's no escaping it. And we see things like the fire I reported yesterday. Pretty heavy devaluation figures, and there'll be another video I'll bring you out a little bit later after this one as well. Well, I received an interesting email. I was copied in along with Jeff Buys Cars, and it was from a concerned person who I shall call D. And he said, "Hi both, been following both your channels for a while, thank you. Not seen mention of this yet. A friend went to buy a new car the other day. Dealers told him they were going to be fined £15,000 from next year if they didn't sell enough electric vehicles. I had a search and didn't find much. It's now a closed consultation. Anyway, thinking they'll be able to buy an ICE after 2030. Best hope 80% of the cars sold are electric, otherwise it will be off the menu." Now, he's given two links, one of which I'll read a short excerpt from in a minute, and there's also a government consultation document entitled "A Zero Emission Vehicle Mandate and CO2 Emission Regulation for New Cars and Vans in the UK." Both of those I'll leave below, a link in the description. Page 7 of the government proposal says the proposed minimum ZEV target trajectory for new cars sold begins at 22% in 2024, increasing to 80% in 2030 and reaching 100 by 2035. So, in other words, electric vehicles being manufactured, or cars that manufacturers are actually coming out with at the moment, by next year, 22% of them have to be electric. And then when you come to 2030, 80% have to be. This is when this ban on diesel and petrol engines is supposed to come in. And then by 100%, 2035. Now, how they're going to strong arm these manufacturers into doing it, page 8 of the proposal, we propose payments of £15,000 per excess activity in the car scheme. Now, this person goes on to mention, also notice reliability issues, cars built in the last few years, wet belt engines fail at 44,000, requiring replacement. My wife's Ford Focus, we bought her, it's one of these turbo overdrive jobbies, that's got a wet belt and that failed at 90,000, just went phew, crap design, it really is. Underpowered, overworked, 3-cylinder petrol and small diesels, all part of the same plan to hard enforcers moving electric. Thanks for all your work publicising the wrongs of the world. Too much stays secret these days. You're very welcome. That's what we want to do. We want as much truth out there as possible. Now, if we look at the news article, which again I'll leave in the description below, so it gives you a little bit about this. At least 22% of the cars manufacturers sell next year will have to be electric, or they could face fines of up to £15,000 per car they miss their target by. So if it's a couple of cars, that's 30 grand, 40, 60, that's a lot of money. If the latest government proposals get the go-ahead, you know, that's if. Ministers have today announced proposed new targets as part of a major green agenda which details tough goals and punitive measures for car makers. A credit-based system will allow manufacturers to trade EV tokens between each other if they think they're going to miss their targets. Credit-based system? Manufacturers selling fewer than 2,500 cars a year would be exempt, but under the proposals, other makers will be able to freely trade allowances with other car firms for any price if they exceed their EV mix until 2026. This will allow EV specialists like Tesla and Polestar to cash in by selling their additional credits earned over the set allowances. Car makers unable to meet their targets, even with credits, will be fined, with the government proposing a £15,000 penalty for every non-electric car and £18,000 per non-electric van they miss their targets by. The percentage of EVs each car maker has to sell each year will continue to rise between now and 2030, when internal combustion engine cars will be banned. And it goes on. Now, I think a lot of this, they've had targets, haven't they, over the course of the last few years, where they've wanted to manufacture and get out on the road a certain amount of electric cars, and they have consistently failed year after year after year. Now we get to this point where we're only, well, 6.5 years away from 2030 now, let's face it, and that will fly by. I'll be 50 before you know it. They want to strong-arm the issue. They want to force it now, and it really is sinister how they want it on the hurry-up. Have a read of the full documentation I leave in the description below. Share this information, because it isn't out there a lot, and it is absolutely insane. And of course, leave your comments below, and maybe we'll have a read-up of them. Anyway, I'm off. Thank you very much, and I'll see you shortly with one more. Toodaloo.